Good morning, Cole. Thank you so much for joining me here on the podcast. I really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you. I'm a fan, longtime listener, first time caller, so to speak. And Michelle, I am eager to chat with you and to reach your community. So this is great.
Gosh, I can't begin to tell you how excited that I am having you do this because I am actually sitting right now in Arizona. I just came from a big creative conference, and it's funny. One of the girls who I'm going to have on the podcast later, she just signed for Dallas Market. So she will be up there as a tenant. So she was very excited to hear that you were being interviewed as well.
Was
So
that the ultimate product party?
yeah,
Oh, that's so cool. So yeah, I just told someone about that
it was
yesterday
amazing.
here in Dallas. There's a woman in here in Dallas, and she reached out to me, and I was talking with her about she has a podcast actually, plus a store,
Hmm.
plus she's exhibited because she's a maker, and she has a store here in Dallas that has a collection of makers. And so I told her about that conference and told her about your podcast too.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I have to say, I haven't been to anything like that before. My husband's gone to Tony Robbins ones and like Brendon Burchard events where they're big and they're high energy. This was great because it was 100 people. It was some amazing people with roundtable discussions. And I met so many amazing women and it was all women, but women entrepreneurs. And it was phenomenal. So I know that having this interview with you, I think is going to bring a lot of people to Dallas, I believe, because Dallas has got it going on right now. But before I get into that, tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your position.
Well, sure. So about myself, wow. So I'm a Texan. I'm here in Dallas. It's where I grew up, and I'm proud of the Texas heritage. My family has been here in Texas since around 1848,
Wow.
and so deep roots here in the community in North Texas. And so, like I said, I grew up here. I went to college in Texas at Baylor University and then Texas A&M University for grad school. After grad school, I kind of reached a point at which I was figuring out what I wanted to do while I was in grad school, and communications, marketing seemed like a pretty good fit. So after grad school, I started with a PR agency here in Dallas that no longer exists. And we did high tech, pre IPO, small venture funded tech company public relations. And so I kind of had trial by fire in telling the stories and narratives of companies with products that maybe they were a little unsure of what they actually did, or they were running and gunning. And then after 18 months, 2 years of that, I had a good friend who went to high school with, who was married to a woman named Lori Edelman. I've got to give a shout out. She was incredible. Who said, "Hey, we've got this position open at Dallas Market Center for public relations." And I said, "Wow, that's really cool. I grew up in Dallas and always drove past the buildings and never really understood it very well. But it'd be really cool." So I chatted with her and with the team in Dallas, and they hired me in PR. And that was 20 years ago in March. So I've been here
Wow.
20 years in PR, and then marketing communications and corporate communications, and now more broadly, marketing leadership. And what my team works on here at the Market Center is delivering the exhibitors to market. And so the brands, we work with our leasing team and our sales team to deliver the brands, to make sure the marketplace is full, that we have a lot going on across all of our industry. So that's lighting, that's home, that's gift, that's fashion, that's gourmet and housewares and holiday and floral, all of it right here. And I have a blast with it. I mean, again, it's been 20 years of fun because, as you know, if you're not having fun in this business, you better move along to something else.
Yeah, yeah, I have to say you kind of have the best of both worlds, gift and apparel. And I don't know how many people who have been to Dallas, if they realize like just how big it is. I had the chance, I've gone to the show 3 times. I haven't been there in probably, I want to say 7 years, because at last I was there was with the company I was buying for, is called Sweet XO. And the I mean, everything from the temporaries to having the apparel there, and where you can kind of double dip as a buyer and you'll spend 2 days in gift. Although I will tell you, it's very difficult to spend only 2 days there because it's so big. And then a few days over in apparel. I mean, it is like the one-stop shop buyer's dream. I will shout that from the mountaintops because it's a phenomenal marketplace. So I'm excited to talk about, because you guys, a lot of the marketplaces have made a lot of changes. A lot of buyers, obviously, with the pandemic, have not been out of their stores and gone to a real live show. And I feel like this is the first time since, I guess it was spring of 2019, that we're actually going to see like the real numbers come back. And like, there's like some fun things happening there at the show. Do you want to tell us about some of the expansion as well as temps and whatnot?
Yeah, I'll try to edit this because I could just go on and on and on about what's new and what's different. And there has been a lot of change, and there's been a lot of change here physically as well as the merchandise mix of things that are available. So let me start with the apparel market, which begins on June 14th and runs the 14th through the 17th. You know, for that show, it's going to be our biggest apparel market since 2004. And how we quantify that really is the number of brands who are exhibiting. We have so many new brands that are going to be a part of the marketplace that are showing here. We have more than 1 million square feet for apparel and
Wow.
accessories. So as a total, we're about 5 million square feet. More than 1 million square feet is dedicated to apparel and accessories. And it's all price point, all types of product available for apparel and accessories. And it includes, you know, West Coast contemporary, it includes bridge, it includes kids, it includes all occasions. And so what we like to say in Dallas for apparel and accessories market is we really have grasped the brass ring of the biggest apparel and accessories marketplace in the country.
That is phenomenal.
West Coast, East Coast, it's really all here in one place. And that's exciting for apparel and accessories. And then we wait a beat after the apparel and accessories market, which ends on the 17th of June. And we move right into the total home and gift market on the 22nd. And there is just a ton going on with that. The biggest part of our total home and gift market that's new is our reimagined temps. And temps, those temporary exhibits are always a huge draw and a big discovery zone.
They're my
And
favorite.
we've completely reimagined the temps marketplace this summer. It'll be launching again starting on the 22nd of June. And we have 5 neighborhoods, 5 areas. And what's most exciting in that is that we've actually launched new sections. Like we have an whole antiques neighborhood that's launching for this time because we have a lot of design oriented folks looking for one of a kind and antique items. So we'll have that available. We have another section called high style, which is more luxury, upper price point gift, home, a lot of different vendors in that area. There's going to be on our 10th floor. So that's a whole new area and a whole new section. And then we'll have specialized sections like for men's gift or global, just so many new areas. And
This
then
is all in
adding,
temps.
yeah, all in the temps. So really going to have about 1,100 booths in the temps, which is of course record breaking for us. But most importantly, that 45% of our temps are new to Dallas.
Oh my God, I want to go to this so bad.
So, I mean, it's just going to be fantastic to see so many new brands showing in the temps at Total Home and Gift Market. And then, of course, in our permanent showrooms, we have hundreds and hundreds of permanent showrooms in gift and home. We're going to have lots and lots of new collections. I was just in the showroom yesterday chatting with them, and they're like, yeah, we've got 4 new collections here. I talked with one last week that's going to have 5 new collections, new brands. So just a lot of things that are new, both in the temps, but also among the permanent showrooms at the marketplace in June. So it's just a ton of momentum. And let me also talk about our buyer base. What we've seen through the pandemic, because we've been having shows taking place the last 2 years consistently, is a lot of new buyers coming to Dallas for the first time. Our new buyer applications are up about 50% versus pre-pandemic numbers. And it's just thousands and thousands of buyers who are kind of thinking, okay, where can I go that's easy to get to, that's affordable, and I can find everything together in a very efficient use of my time? And they're just saying, hey, let me try Dallas.
I'm
And we know
so
that it's not it can be a challenge for people who are flying in long distances, but yet that's where our big growth has been. It's been from the Northeast, it's been from the upper Midwest, it's been from the Southeast, and quite a number of retailers from the West Coast, with a concentration out of California, that are saying, okay, where can I go and find that apparel, find the accessories, find gift, find everything together in one place? And now I really sound like I'm being really beating our chest on the promo side of it, but it's really exciting. Like I said, I've been here 20 years and I have a lot of new team members here, and I tell them, like, this is the most exciting Dallas moment since I've been here. It's
I mean,
incredible.
it's really, I mean, for all of us who buy and all of us who love the show atmosphere and the energy there, I mean, there's something about going to a place, there is so many new resources. That's what I used to love about Atlanta. When I was going to Atlanta as a buyer, was like, I always knew I'd find something that I wasn't going to find anywhere on the West Coast. And there was always a lot of newness. And I think as a buyer, I love Vegas still, but I still feel like there's not as much newness that you crave as a buyer. So I wanted to talk about that because I was super excited about that. And really quick to kind of circle back around to apparel, even though the shows are separated by dates, you have permanent showrooms for apparel. So even if you're not going to wait out those days in between, you could still go and visit permanent showrooms while you were at the gift show.
Absolutely, you can. So we've got more than 500 apparel and accessory showrooms, and a good portion of those want to take advantage of the business during Total Home and Gift Market. So those apparel and accessory showrooms, some of them will be open during the week with a special concentration on fashion accessories. We have a neighborhoods of fashion accessories, permanent showrooms that, of course, will be open, and footwear as well. I mean, footwear for us is a big growth category during our apparel market, but we have permanent showrooms for that as well. So yeah, if you're coming down for the Total Home and Gift Market, you can definitely head to the top floors where our fashion showrooms are located and do business with those folks and work your way through the rest of the buildings. We've got 3 main buildings that are connected here. And then we also have a building across the street that houses our temps during the Total Home and Gift Market. So it's real easy to find your way from one building to another and never have to go outside, and work your way from apparel to gift to home to tabletop to floral and holiday and design. And then our temps across the street, where we have temps in 5 neighborhoods during Total Home and Gift Markets. So they're scattered throughout the buildings.
Wow. Well, I'm hoping I can, even if I can only get there for 2 days, just to walk it for the podcast and just kind of, meet some people. But I love the energy that it's creating in the industry. Like, as a buyer, like I wish I could do all the shows. And Dallas is definitely going to be on the list now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it this one as a buyer, but certainly as a podcaster, I'm going to try and make it out there.
Yeah, let me give a quick shout out and plug to the Retailer Excellence Awards, because we're a proud partner with Gifts and Decorative Accessories magazine on their 71st Retailer Excellence Awards, which took place for quite a number of years in New York, but it's going to be in Dallas this time, and we're really excited to partner with them. It's an offsite event, but it's honoring great retailers in the gift business, and also some reps and manufacturers, but the heartbeat of the REAs is retailer excellence. And we love the fact that it's going to be in Dallas, and we love the fact that we get to help host and to help honor retailers from across the country who, let's face it, have been through a lot and are doing amazing things now that are unique and are worthy of accolades. So we're really looking forward to the Retailer Excellence Awards. And also at the awards is a special award that Gift for Life the industry charity I'm involved with extends an award at that event to a industry leader. And so Gift for Life is giving its award at the Retailer Excellence Awards for industry leadership to journalist and business analyst Warren Schulberg. And so Warren will be there. And we love what Warren continues to do, reporting in many, many outlets, from Forbes to Business of Home to Home Excellence Today, Gifts and Decorative Accessories, HFN. He has a wonderful eye for what the news is and reporting and analyzing retail conditions and what's happening across the spectrum of the business of retail and wholesale and design and manufacturing. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the
Yeah.
REA's event and to Warren, who's been a wonderful partner for all of us in reporting on the news.
Well, you opened the door to my next segue for Gift for Life. Me as a retailer, I said this to Matt. I think I said this also in our emails, that you hear about it as a retailer. I don't think as many retailers know about it. I know certainly I have heard about it. I did not know to the extent of both why it was created and the work that it's doing now in the Ukraine. But I think that, like, what you are doing and what the program is doing for the industry is phenomenal. So why don't you tell people about how Gift for Life started and kind of take us through to what you guys are working on now?
Sure. I'm so pleased to be able to talk through the industry charitable organization, Gift for Life, and what we do and how we do it. So Gift for Life was founded in 1992, and it was created by Peter Schaben, who has a wonderful, amazing showroom in Atlanta, and a small group of industry professionals. And they were at that point responding to the HIV/AIDS crisis. And so if we all can think back to the 80s and even into the 90s, the creative industries were ravaged by HIV/AIDS. And so Peter and a group of folks got together and said, what can we do? How can we raise money and help support the fight against HIV/AIDS? And so they did that for a number of years. I joined the board 17 years ago, and that remained our focus was HIV/AIDS, supporting AMFAR, the American Foundation for AIDS Research, and then pivoting and supporting DIFA, the Design Industry Foundation fighting AIDS. And we raised more than $5 million over the years fighting HIV/AIDS. During the pandemic, we as a board did some soul searching, and we said, how can we layer in and help a food insecurity? And really what is a crisis taking place both overseas, but also in the United States for food insecurity. So Gift for Life as a board stepped back and said, let's partner with an organization to fight food insecurity. And we selected World Central Kitchen. World Central Kitchen is the organization led by Chef Jose Andres, which is amazing. They step in wherever there's a crisis. Here in the United States, overseas, they set up kitchens and they feed families immediately. And here's an even better part of what they do. They employ local people to do it. So it's local kitchens, local chefs to create meals. And so we thought that was a wonderful organization to partner with. And so during the pandemic, Gift for Life has raised more than $100,000
Wow.
to support World Central Kitchen. And we've done it in smaller events around the country. When Gift for Life was raising money for DIFA and fighting HIV/AIDS, we really had one annual large fundraising event, and it was great. A lot of organizations work that way. But what we found during the pandemic is that we can have individualized fundraisers tied in with a showroom or a market or an organization or an awards event, and we can chip away and raise a lot of money, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 at a time in the right situation. So the Gift for Life board has, as part of we have about 25 people on the board. It's show people, like me and like IMC and like Clarion and New York Now. It's media partners like Gift Shop Magazine and Gifts and Decorative Accessories. It's reps like Matt Katzenson from Vine Lines and also from Atlanta and from Chicago and other locations. And it's manufacturers. You know, we have folks from Patty Wax and other organizations and manufacturers too. So we all come together and say, okay, what are we going to do annually around the country now to raise money? So this summer, we're going to have a series of fundraising events around the country tied into events and markets. We'll kick that off in Dallas. And a lot of our showrooms here in Dallas have stepped up. And I'm in the process right now of talking to lots of them. We have, I think, 5 or 6 already on board to do showroom driven fundraising. And it could be things like, you know, the vendors in the showroom saying, we're going to kick in $1 per order. And then also asking the buyer, hey, do you want to add $1 to your order in my showroom for World Central Kitchen? That kind of questions and raising money that way. We're also doing it for events, like I mentioned earlier, the Retailer Excellence Awards. We'll also ask people at that event before and during the event, hey, you know, scan this QR code and give a little $25, $50, $100 to World Central Kitchen. And then after Dallas, we'll have fundraisers in Atlanta, we'll have them in Las Vegas, we'll have them in New York, we'll have them around the country tied into market events. And then in the fall, we're going to kick off fundraising in High Point because we set our sights on home as a growth industry for Gift for Life. We're not just gift, we are stationery, we are home. There are a lot of categories we touch that we're moving into to, again, raise money for World Central Kitchen. But we haven't left HIV/AIDS behind. We're also, we participate in, for example, AIDS Walk in New York, which is just coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I know.
We're speaking.
To Matt's.
So it will be probably over by the time this podcast airs, but we are we've reached our goal of raising more than $40,000 for AIDS Walk New York, and all of that goes to help AIDS support services with the gay men's health crisis in New York and other services there. So again, we've pivoted into fundraising for World Central Kitchen, but we certainly remain true to our legacy for fighting HIV/AIDS.
I was, when I was running, I was doing marathons for APLA. So every mile that I ran, I raised money for, and I blew my knee out, so I no longer am able to run. But the fundraising and doing it for HIV/AIDS is so incredibly important still. I think I want to go back and kind of talk a little bit about, because some retailers are newer and they were not around during the 80s of the days of, you know, there's no way of explaining the creativity and how over the top it was, and how many of the people that were involved in that are gone now. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the over the top? I mean, isn't it Dumdaco that had like that's one I remember being really, really over the top, and I may be remembering it wrong, but the creativity during that era was nothing like, you can't, I mean, Glitterville's the only thing I can think about that really comes close to that excess or that over the top.
Well, it is. And so, you know, I've kind of the inheritor a lot of these stories, since I, you know, really have been only part of the business for 20 years, but the legacy of the narratives of the creative set and the people who in the 80s and the 90s really were driving wonderful design and wonderful events and wonderful part of our business is incredible. The same is true of fashion, by the way, that there really was an incredible creative community that was absolutely decimated by HIV/AIDS. And on the gift side, it was touching everyone. I mean, I'm the inheritor of these stories from Peter Schaben and those who were on the board of Gift for Life, but it was very apparent that this was having a devastating effect, and people looked around and said, what can we do? How can we help? And the AIDS service organizations at the time were so important to do two things. Number one was to try to do research like AmFAR did medically,
Mhm.
try to find a cure, and we haven't gotten there yet, of course. But then for service organizations like DIFA to help with education, to help with care, to help with the support system community by community that would then be able to lift people up again, because there remains no cure for this disease. And so those services of research and for care and concern really have driven Gift for Life for 20 years of helping others. And that spirit remains alive. We're not going to leave behind that spirit of service to those battling HIV/AIDS and communities around the country. But also, we recognize that hunger relief is another crisis that we can help with.
I have said this, and I've now continued to find and look for brands that give back. I've always said that whatever size company you have, small or large, I believe that giving back is the most important gift that you can give, whether it's time or money or volunteering or whatever it is. So I love that my industry is doing this. I will say, like I said in the beginning, though, is that as a retailer, like, I had not heard much of it. You will see some signs of Gift for Life, but unless you're involved and you're going to these events, like, you really don't know. So how do retailers find more about it? How do they contribute, or how do they get involved?
Yeah, so Gift for Life really is focused on those events and that channel that is B2B, if I'll put it that way. So, the magazines like Gift Shop and Gifts and Decorative Accessories that have been such a strong partner, you'll see news about Gift for Life in those titles and even ads that we place about the organization. And that's a wonderful way. The market centers and trade shows are another channel that are very important to us. So when you're at New York now, or you're at the market in Atlanta or Las Vegas or Dallas, you will see evidence of that on site and also via their communications. They've been so generous to help us with signage or with placement in the market publications. Our new partner, Clarion Events, they're also on the board recently. Their events also you'll see some evidence of that. But to circle back, the best way to connect with us actually is social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and those channels on social media, and again, it's Gift for Life. Those channels really deliver the news and the opportunities and the links out to help. And we welcome the partnership of the retail community when they're at market and aside from market, to help us raise money for World Central Kitchen. And when we do events like AIDS Walk New York, but also to chip in however you can. What we're doing now is really saying that $10 is a meal. And so when you walk the halls of Atlanta, when you're in Dallas, when you're in the fall at High Point, look for the opportunity to help and take a moment, get out your phone and give. And we have, again, wonderful manufacturer partners and rep partners and market center partners and media and everybody really works on site to help drive awareness. But it is the type of thing that you're going to have to look for a little bit, and connect with us. And then once you're connected, you'll see a very quick pace of events this year. And again, because we're having so many of them around the country, tied into events and tied into markets.
Will you talk a little bit about what they are doing? World Central Kitchen is doing they're still involved in Ukraine? I have a
Yeah.
horrible way.
Yeah, they are. So, what the amazing thing about World Central Kitchen and Jose Andres is that they are quick to go in and help. So when there are wildfires in the US, they have been there in those recent wildfires to set up kitchens immediately. But I think their biggest effort right now is Ukraine. And so they have fed more than 16 million meals now, helping with this crisis in Ukraine. They've set up kitchens in Poland, kitchens on the border, and they go in and they simply create meal after meal, 24 hours a day, hot meals for families, and have done it for months and will continue to do it. And it's just astonishing. But that
Mm,
doesn't take away from their ability to reach out if something happens elsewhere.
yeah.
So I think that's the beauty of World Central Kitchen, is that while they have the capacity to dive in and to feed millions and millions of people in Ukraine, and they're doing that actively, and so our support and the money we raise will help that. That there's also domestic crises happening, and they step in immediately for that. So whether it's wildfires or whether it's on the border, I think that last year there were refugees on the border between Mexico and Texas, and they drove in and immediately started feeding refugees in crisis, and they can step in and do that very quickly.
It's such a phenomenal organization. I mean, both the organizations and what you guys are doing are huge. And I really implore people to really go out and actively search out these. Will there be signs with QR codes, and will the showrooms have them as well? Will they be in the lobbies or?
Yeah, a combination of all of that. So you'll just need to look for, and the emphasis is going to be on World Central Kitchen and for Gift for Life. So inside participating showrooms, in common areas, on TV monitors and social media channels, you will definitely this summer see a message of support
Mhm.
for World Central Kitchen at the shows. And so please look for that and take a moment to get out your phone, scan that QR code, or go to the website and be able to give. What we do at Gift for Life is we simply are a conduit for the money going to World Central Kitchen. And any fundraising that we do, every dollar goes direct to World Central Kitchen. So when we set up these little websites for Atlanta or for the showrooms in Dallas who are participating, they're actually on the World Central Kitchen website. So we're just promoting it and encouraging donations, and every dollar goes straight to World Central Kitchen. And that's our advocacy as a board. And again, I want to give thanks to all of our board members who are from around the country, Matt on the West Coast, and Russ Jones from Ivy Stone on the East Coast, and all kinds of folks in between who participate, set up fundraisers, use their own voices and amplify it through their own social media. And
Yep.
then we depend upon media and the market centers and the trade shows to participate as well.
Gift for Life has one big event as well. Is it Dallas? Because again, because unfortunately, I always know there's a big event, and I have yet to go, because I always see everyone's social media posts from Matt, from everybody else. Like, tell me about the event for this year.
Well, as I said, we've really have diversified. And so we formerly did have one large fundraising event, but now we're having a series of events instead of one large event. And so
Okay.
that spreads our message, that spreads our voice, and that spreads the opportunity for folks to give while they are traveling the halls of Atlanta, or if they're in High Point, or they're in Dallas, or to check out what's happening at events like the Retailer Excellence Awards, or other events, or the GHTA conference in the fall, for
I guess
example.
my misunderstanding was that one big event was the one big event.
Well, yeah, and we
spread
did that for years, and it was incredible. And we would raise, $250,000 at one night, and we'd put all of our effort toward having that one big fundraising event. But, like a lot of businesses, the pandemic had us kind of step back and say, we have to stop everything. What are we doing? How do we change our business model, if you will, to reach more people, to expand, for example, into the home category, and to do better? And so this is the result of that, is a new partner with World Central Kitchen and a new way to raise money. And that's these various events around the country.
I always ask everyone, and now I'm going to flip the channels on you, is where, because you obviously work a ton and you obviously are very, very busy, where do you find balance? Nice segue, Michelle.
That's no, that's a great question. Right now I'm balancing on the fifth floor of the Trade Mart here in Dallas, trying to keep my sanity as we do the run up to June market. And like everybody right now, I think everybody is sort of in, you know, they're in like hyper reality, getting ready for the summer shows. So I'll put it this way. So my balance right now is certainly looking ahead to post June shows to when I'm planning on going out to Santa Fe, New Mexico in July and going to the folk art market that takes place out there. They gather together tons and tons of folk artists that come together. And we're actually going to host several of them here in Dallas during our Total Home and Gift Market. But then I look ahead to doing that. I'm a fly fisherman, so I also keep balance by looking forward to taking trips out to fly fish. I keep balance by listening to podcasts, which I'm a huge podcast listener. So whenever I'm driving or doing yard work, which also helps me keep balance, I'm listening to podcasts, and I read a lot. I always have a couple of books going at any one time.
I heard you have 3 books going usually.
What's that?
I heard through another interview that you have 3 books going, a business book.
Yeah, so I'm reading right now. This is going to sound really fancy, but it's a Harvard Business Review book on managing people. It's sort of a best of their list of like great books on how to manage people effectively. So that's something I like to keep going. I definitely like to keep going with another type of book, and so it kind of depends upon the kind of I don't read a lot of fiction these days. I'll tell you what I'm reading at the moment. My brother just sent me a book, and it's the biography of Mike Nichols, the film director and the comedy writer. And so I just started diving into that biography of Mike Nichols. And then I often just keep kind of a random book on the side. I have to admit, I don't have a random book on the side right now. It's just the Harvard Business Review, and then it's the Mike Nichols biography. But I just sent I have a twin brother, by the way, identical twin brother who's in the apparel business. So I know we kind of have this in the blood. And so I just sent him the biography, or the sort of memoirs of Steve Martin, the comedian. And it's called Born Standing Up. And so I heard about it on another podcast. And so we'll trade books. That helps us keep balance.
Because you do read so many business books, what is a book that you could refer to retailers that are listening for their businesses or management?
There is a really fun book called Made to Stick. It came out several years ago, but it's these 2 brothers who wrote this book called Made to Stick, which is about ideas. And so in that kind of Malcolm Gladwell universe, and I love Malcolm Gladwell's books, we all are very familiar with them, but in that same kind of level, I think Made to Stick is really good. And there's also a book, I'm trying to remember the exact title of it, but it's about how ideas get passed along. And it's either Contagion or Contagious or something in the title about how ideas become viral. And so that's another one. And I'll have to dig into exactly what that is and send it to you.
You can, that'd be great. Cause I think I haven't asked that question before. So I'm sorry if I threw you off on it. Cause I just, for people that do read, cause I try and read a business book, like at least 10 pages every morning, just to keep myself open-minded on business structure and management and operations. And I find them very helpful. And I think a lot of retailers will pick them up when they have time in between insane schedules like yourself right now.
Yeah. And I just Googled it while we were talking. It is called Contagious. It's by a guy named Jonah Berger. And Jonah, he's a professor. He actually came to Dallas a few years ago, and I had a chance to see him at lunch. And so, I mean, the ideas of that one and Made to Stick and others is about ideas and how things catch on or how things get carried forward. And it's really at its base level, it's about storytelling. And as a marketer and a communicator, I mean, that's what we work on here at Dallas Market Center. And a marketing team is really how to create stories. And there's no better playground for stories than the business we're in, right? We have all these great brands, and the retail communities are trying to tell their stories, and the brands are trying to tell their stories for product. And then as a marketplace, we're trying to knit together all of our stories to help people. And at the end of the day, as a marketplace, what we're trying to do is help retailers thrive by delivering product, but we're also trying to help them thrive by helping their own narrative and their own product story, their own merchandising story, their own marketing story, so they can do well. And so that's kind of my jam, is marketing books and business books about storytelling, narratives, how things catch on, how to leverage those kinds of principles.
I think that, anything like that, I believe is always going to push your business forward. And I always think you can learn something at any age. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
It's funny. If you'd asked me that 10 years ago, I don't know what my answer would have been, but I'll say this about the 10-year cycle of working in the business that we're in, is that it's tremendously exciting right now, and it's tremendously interesting right now. I will say that it seems to me that in another 10 years, I might be sitting right here, but thinking through in new ways, how the marketplace continues to evolve. Mm-hmm. And where we're all going to be in 10 years is exciting to me, as a marketplace and as a business and as a retail and wholesale community, because things have just accelerated and are moved faster and faster. And I know it's kind of scary. We were all scared by change. And I once had a boss who used to say that the only person who likes change is a wet baby. But we, as an industry, I think, are a little scared by change, but it's happening faster and faster. So where are we going to be in 10 years? Well, let's figure that out together and figure out how to help each other. And I'll probably be right here in 10 years, continuing to think through, how we can manage a marketplace in Dallas, how other trade shows are going, how Gift for Life can continue to raise money, but doing it in very unique ways. We have a lot of younger people on our board for Gift for Life right now, and they're so full of energy and new ideas. And, let's use QR codes, and let's use Venmo, and let's use, the social media for giving, and let's think about things differently. And that's inspiring to be around people that have fresh ideas, isn't it?
Yeah, that's literally what I've just gone through for the last 2 days at the Ultimate Product Party is like, I'm old. I say I'm old, but everyone now, the QR code thing is huge. And I just learned, like, oh, I can create a QR code on my phone. Who knew? It's like embarrassing. Right. It was so great to be around that young, hungry, excited energy. And that generation, the younger ones now that are in retail, are completely changing the game, and listening to some of the ways that they're doing business and changing is so inspiring. And I try not to get scared, because at this age, you usually start to get scared because you don't like change, but I am fully open to like accepting whatever they're doing. And I'm loving watching what they're doing. I think that's the most exciting thing for somebody that's been in this industry for 40 plus years. It's really cool to see it happening real time.
Well, it certainly is. And we've got so many new folks here in Dallas on the team at the Market Center. We've got these new showrooms with the next generation of people who are now going into business. And of course, we've got all these retailers who are now starting out, and it's a whole new generation of retail. And the numbers, I don't know if you've seen the numbers in the last couple of years, of the number of people that decided to go into business.
Yeah.
And not just create a new business, they're creating a retail business.
Yep.
Those numbers are incredible. So we're talking to them here. I get to talk to entrepreneurs who are starting a brand or starting a retail business, and it is incredibly inspiring. because when you're around those folks, they just kind of shake your idea of how to do things and make you, question a lot, but also come up with new thinking. And so that's great.
Well, I will leave this with this, is that Fred Siegel's quote that I will never forget, and then I try and use it every day, is Fred's quote was, energy creates energy. And clearly you guys are doing that there. So thank you so much for your time with me. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited for people to hear this. And I really, if I can't say it enough, people go to Dallas because it sounds absolutely amazing. I know I am going to try and make it there, but thank you very much.
Well, thank you. You can connect with me on social media. I'm at Cole Dallas, or look for the Gift for Life group on Facebook, or wave at me in Dallas, and we'll see everybody soon.
I will have all these links in our show notes as well as on our website.